One concept I often see or hear people express is that the United States is now a private corporation. Those who make these claims often cite the District of Columbia Act of 1871 as proof. This fact is then used to support various positions or explain why or how certain acts of government take place. So let's take a look at the District of Columbia Act of 1871 and the Constitution of the United States to see for ourselves if we are no longer citizens of a union, but subjects of a corporation.
There's one thing you have to know wherever you make your stand. Came from a long through line of everyday Americans.
Hello there, everyday Americans, and welcome to the Constitution Study. This is where we read and study the Constitution. We teach the rising generation to be free. We go back to the original documents to see if what we're being told is actually true. Now, if you want to find out more, please head to the website constitutionstudy.com. You can find this article, video, or others that you may find interesting, and everything there is free for you to use and free for you to share. Now, I'll talk some more about that at the end of the video, so now let's talk about the District of Columbia Act of 1871. I will not be reviewing all of the text of the District of Columbia Act of 1871 for one simple reason. It's long. In fact, there are 41 sections spanning 11 pages. Since most of this legislation is a charter for the new government for the District of Columbia, it's not pertinent to this conversation. However, Section 1 is. Now, to understand this piece of legislation, it would help to know the special role that the District of Columbia plays within the United States. From Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 of the Constitution, we read that Congress has the power to exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district not exceeding 10 miles square, as may, by secession of particular states and the acceptance of Congress, become the seat of the government of the United States. The Founding Fathers expected the states to quarrel. To prevent one state from holding undue influence over the government of the new Union, Congress was given exclusive legislative control over a district no larger than 10 miles square that would become the seat of the government of the United States. In 1788, Maryland ceded land for this federal district, and in 1789, Virginia did the same. Then in 1790, the Residence Act mandated that this ceded territory would be the permanent seat of the government of the United States. In 1801, the act concerning the District of Columbia divided the district into two counties, Alexandria and Washington, each with their own courts, judges, and justices of the peace. The act left the cities of Washington, Alexandria, and Georgetown in place, each with their own municipal governments. As early as 1803, we find legislation that would return the territory south of the Potomac, Alexandria County, to Virginia, though there was little support until the 1830s. Then in 1846, Congress, with the approval of the Virginia General Assembly, returned the territory to Virginia. Thus, the stage was set for the District of Columbia Act of 1871. Being enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that all that part of the territory of the United States included within the limits of the District of Columbia be, and the same is hereby, created into a government by the name of the District of Columbia, by which name it is hereby constituted a body corporate for municipal purposes, and may contract and be contracted with, sue and be sued, plead and be impleaded, have a seal, and exercise all other powers of a municipal corporation not inconsistent with the Constitution and laws of the United States and the provisions of this act. So the District of Columbia already had a county government. So what was the purpose of the 1871 Act? The 1801 Act created two counties, one of which was returned to Virginia, but it did not create governments for them. During and after the Civil War, the population of the district grew tremendously. Congress determined that the local governments were not capable of handling the increasing demands of the new population. Their response was the District of Columbia Act to create a new unified government for the district. Section 40 of the Act repealed the charters for the cities of Washington and Georgetown, but left the cities and laws generally intact. The rest of this act was primarily the charter establishing this new government. So what did this act actually create, and why do people claim that this legislation made the United States a private corporation? It seems the idea that the United States is now a private corporation stems from the language is hereby constituted a body corporate for municipal purposes. In other words, the District of Columbia is a municipal corporation, which is defined in the Free Legal Dictionary as a municipal corporation is a city, town, village, or borough that has governmental powers. A municipality is a city, town, village, or in some states, a borough. A corporation is an entity capable of conducting business. Cities, towns, villages, and some boroughs are called municipal corporations because they have the power to conduct business with the private sector. While the idea of a municipal corporation is something most Americans will never truly consider, the Free Legal Dictionary does break it down fairly simply. A corporation is an entity capable of conducting business. For example, the Constitution study is a sole proprietorship, meaning I alone own it. Now, while I do business in the name of the Constitution study, it is me and me alone doing business. Should I one day form a partnership with someone, although we'll be doing business in the name of the partnership, it is the partners who are doing business. Should I want to create a separate entity to do business, I would create some form of corporation. Then when the corporation did business, it would be the corporation rather than the owners who are doing business. Now, we often think of corporations as large businesses, but there are many different types of corporations. One type of corporation is a municipal corporation. This is where a city, town, or village incorporates so that it can do business separately from its citizens. Another example is that I live in an unincorporated town in Tennessee. My town cannot contract with someone because it's not a legal entity. If the people of my town want to contract to do something, we have to choose individuals who will contract with others to get the work done. Since this is not a very good way to do business, we often see that as cities and towns get larger, they tend to incorporate. Not far from where I live is a small city that is incorporated. There are city employees, city property, city vehicles, and the city can contract with vendors to get work done like maintaining the streets or handling garbage. Also, as a municipal corporation, that city has governmental powers such as legislating and executing their laws. So what the District of Columbia Act of 1871 did was nothing more than create a government called the District of Columbia as a municipal corporation, meaning the district can legislate, enforce, and contract with others. Now, most people who tell me the United States is a corporation seem to be merely repeating something they were told. The few examples I've found where people try to explain how the District of Columbia Act created a private corporation, well, their reasoning falls flat. One claim is that the District of Columbia had already been municipally incorporated, so the 1871 Act must have created something new. However, the District of Columbia Act of 1801 doesn't actually say that it created a municipal corporation. Section 1. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that the laws of the state of Virginia as they now exist shall be and continue in force in that part of the District of Columbia which was ceded by the said state to the United States, and by them accepted for the permanent seat of government, and that the laws of the state of Maryland as they now exist shall be and continue in force in that part of said district which was ceded by the state to the United States, and by them accepted as aforesaid. So the laws of the states that ceded the land to the district would remain in place. Furthermore, the District of Columbia Act of 1801 did not create a district government. It created two counties based on the land of the original states. Section 2. And be it further enacted, that said District of Columbia shall be formed in two counties. One county shall contain all that part of said district, which lies on the east side of the river Potomac, together with the islands therein, and shall be called the county of Washington. The other county shall contain all that part of said district, which lies on the west side of said river, and shall be called the county of Alexandria. And the said river in its whole course through said district shall be taken and deemed, to all intents and purposes, to be within both of said counties. Yes, courts were set up for these counties, and a U.S. Marshal and attorney were assigned to the district, but there were no governmental powers delegated to the district itself. Now, another claim is that the 1871 Act was unlawful, since you cannot have an organic or first act when an act is already in place. As I've shown, there was no government for the District of Columbia. In fact, the only governmental offices authorized by the 1801 Act were the judges in the two counties. The existing charters for the cities of Georgetown, Washington, and Alexandria were left in place. Section 40 of the 1871 Act repeals the charters for the cities of Washington and Georgetown, Alexandria had being receded to Virginia in 1846. Now, with the new corporation of the District of Columbia being the successor to these cities. Since there was no government or corporation called the District of Columbia before 1871, the District of Columbia Act of 1871 is an organic act creating a new entity. The last argument for a corporation called the United States is the assumption that even though the District of Columbia Act of 1871 specifically states that it's creating a municipal corporation, somehow it magically became a private corporation owned by the government. Now, some have gone so far as to claim that since, in their opinion, the seat of the federal government is actually a private corporation, then the entire country somehow became one. I've yet to have anyone provide a cogent basis for that argument. Now, the easiest way to rebut the claim that the District of Columbia Act of 1871 turned the United States into a private corporation comes from the legislation itself. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that all that part of the territory of the United States included within the limits of the District of Columbia be, and the same as hereby, created into a government by the name of the District of Columbia, by which name it is hereby constituted a body corporate for municipal purposes, and may contract and be contracted with, sue and be sued, plead and be impleaded, have a seal and exercise all other powers of a municipal corporation not inconsistent with the Constitution and laws of the United States and the provisions of this act. See, there's nothing in the Constitution or laws of the United States that allows the District of Columbia to be a private corporation or to exercise any power over any other city or state. This appears to be little more than a tactic to scare the American people into believing their control over government has been taken away by some mysterious cabal of evildoers. Sadly, the truth is even worse. Our power to control government was not taken away. We are merely unwilling to wield it, or to wield it justly. Hopefully, this will be an example of why it is so important to go back to the original documents to see if what you are being told is true. As Ronald Reagan said, trust, but verify. So there it is. The United States of America is not a corporation. You are not citizens of a corporation. There is no corporate United States. It's a myth. It's made up. It's not based on any reality. And that statement is so easily rebutted. See, in order for the United States to become a corporation, Congress must do something it is not legally authorized to do. That is, change us from a constitutional republic into a corporation. And since that's not a power delegated to the United States, the 10th Amendment says that's a violation of the Constitution. And since both Alexander Hamilton and the Supreme Court in Marbury versus Madison said that an act of Congress contrary to the Constitution is void, even if they pass legislation to try and turn us into a corporation, that legislation is void. It's empty. It's meaningless. It's still superseded by the Constitution of the United States. Now, I can't read people's minds, so I don't know why we come up with this, but it seems to me that it really is a scare tactic. Let's scare people into thinking, see, your power has been taken away, when what the really is we're just unwilling to exercise it. Now, I'm sure most people would not have taken the time to track down and go into the details of the District of Columbia Act of 1871, which is why I did it. So now you have this information. The next time someone makes an argument that the United States is a corporation, send them a link to this article, to this video, to the podcast. I've got the data, I've got the links, it's all there for you. That's why I do this. I've educated you, you can share it with others. Now, if you want to help support the work that we're doing here, by all means, there's a donation page on the right-hand side, or just go to constitutionstudy.com/donate. Or simply sign up and become part of the Constitution Study. Sign up for the newsletter. You can even check to have these articles and these videos delivered right to your inbox when they're published. Absolutely free. Doesn't cost you anything. And I don't charge for anything the Constitution Study does. Nothing on that page is a fee. You're free to share it. You're free to use it, which is why I survive on donations and support and sales of my book. So if you want to support me, that would be greatly appreciated. If there's other things you'd like to see, please let me know. Ask a question. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, ask it in the question. There's a little checkbox that says, put this on the Constitution Study, or talk about this on the radio. This is all information that I bring to you, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you found this useful. Now, if you want to learn more about the Constitution, If you want to become a constitutional scholar, meaning a student of the Constitution, well, then go to constitutionscholars.com. That's where a group of scholars have joined together. We share information, we read, we study, we learn, and we train. I'm working on some new things for 2022 that maybe you'd be interested in as far as additional training for those who are willing to pay to become a scholar. You can join the scholars absolutely free. You can join it, become part of it, but I do have paid mentors. I'm looking for men and women that really want to learn to become better scholars and better teachers. And I'm working on some more resources for them, including some tools they may find useful. You can find all that out at the website, constitutionscholars.com. Most of all, I'm glad you spent some time with me today. I hope you learned something. I hope you've got some tools. The next time someone tells you that the United States is nothing more than a corporation, you've got the tools to point them out that they are wrong. And you've got the evidence and the proof of the rightness of your case. And if it was worth your time, I hope you'll come back next time for the Constitution Study.
There's one thing you have to know wherever you make your stand. Came from